Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be filming finally the palette 5000 tag created by Chic Geek. I love her channel. She's one of those people that I watch when I'm gonna shower, when I'm doing my makeup. I have 4 channels that I watch all of their videos and she's one of them. I really loved when she created this makeup tag and this palette tag because it's something different from the other tags and I interpreted a few things differently. So if you want to see how I did this tag and the palettes that I chose for this video, then just keep on watching. Okay you guys, so I have here all of the questions. Since I wanted to film this video, I decided to answer all of the questions and I watched it on the day that she released it. It's just that with my trip and everything, I didn't have time to film it. Now that I'm back, I just wanna make sure that I film it. The first one is the palette that you wore on a special occasion. And you guys, I still have this palette and it's just special to me. This is the Dolce Vita palette by Charlotte Tilbury. Nowadays, this is called Bella Sofia. They changed the name a while back. And this is one of the luxury palettes, and these I wore on my wedding day. It was brand new on my wedding day and we're gonna have this month our 7-year anniversary. So 7-year, yeah, maybe 2016, yeah, our 7th year anniversary. So this palette has 7 years now. It still performs. I took it with me on my trip on March to the US and it was the palette that I used every single day. And I have pan in every single shade and I love the look that I created with this palette. I really love it. So I'm happy that I still have it to show you guys. It's not like I go to many weddings or concerts or dates or whatnot, but this is a truly special palette. The second question is a palette you love but it's repetitive. And I decided to include one of my all-time favorite palettes. This is the Makeup by Mario Master Matte palette. And this is by far the best gift that I've received makeup-wise. It was a gift with many other palettes from my friend Janet, but this is by far my favorite and most used palette from them all. And then this one is repetitive because it's neutrals, it's matte, and I love these types of palettes. So I'm gonna show you how I have it as a repeat from other similar palettes, but this is still the one that I use the most. So I have also here, this was a gift from her as well. This is the VC Art Neutral Matte Eyeshadow Palette, and this is a staple palette as well that I use so much on my makeup artistry kits and on myself. And this creates the most expensive matte eye look that I have ever done on myself. I adore it. And then it's also similar to another favorite of mine, which is the Jeffree Star Orgy palette. And this one I just love. It has one pan in it and I use this so much. Since getting the Mario one, I don't take this one on my makeup artistry kit because, you guys, size-wise, this is perfection. This is just created for makeup artists. And then the other palette that's similar but I love so much is the Transition palette by Dominique Cosmetics. It's all matte and I just love it. It has powder in it because I use these palettes the most in my collection. Like, it doesn't matter which palette I'm using. This is always a sister palette to any palette that I'm using. It comes with a black, it comes with highlighting shades. These per se, you can use it all over your face like blush, brows and whatnot. So this is a wonderful palette as well. Palettes you got your money's worth. And you guys, I have a few palettes here that I showed a lot of love to for myself as on personal use while I first got them, and then I added them to my kit and now I depotted them into a C palette, and those are my ABH palettes. I'm about to throw these 4 away because I already depot the shades. The eyeshadow palettes that I think I got my money's worth are Soft Glam, Modern Renaissance, which is amazing, then Norvina. And of course this one, which I'm not gonna depot, it's Sultry, which is one that I have already 7 pans in it. It didn't have that many pans because this wasn't my favorite, but now that I'm into cool tones, I use it on almost every single client. What I did was I depotted them, and the Prism palette as well created this palette, which is, you can see the love that I've shown to those eyeshadows. A few of the pans were empty I gotten money from it because these are the palettes that I use on my makeup artistry kits. And you can see that a lot of the pans are about to be done because I use them so much. And this is going to be simpler for me to take on my makeup artistry kit and then to use them up and then throw away the small pans as I'm finishing them off. So yeah, those I got my money's worth as a business standpoint and also personal use. But I think this palette I had to show it. This is the Viva palette, which is super expensive. It's an all neutral shade, which are my favorite type of palettes. And I've used this so much. I have two shades missing here because it's in my Franken palette that you will see in another question on this video. I have 8 pans on this palette so far, and it's just one of my most used palettes in my collection, and it's just lovely. Even though it's pricey, I could say that the Glam one and the Viva one are one of those palettes that are on my personal collection that I just can't put down, and that it doesn't matter which palette I'm using, those I tend to gravitate towards. Palette that is an amazing deal. I decided to show you two type of amazing deals in my opinion. This is a $3 palette that I got as a gift from my friend Janet, and this is one of the most used palettes that I have that she gave to me. So this is the bite-size eyeshadow palette in the shade Truffles from e.l.f. and it's a quad, you guys, and I love these. This was the palette that I used the most on my trip that I took last week, and I adored it. And this would be the companion palette to my Franken palette, but this would be my simple everyday look, and I really love it. I really love it. I never thought that I would fall in love with quad as much as I have done with this one. After my Dolce Vita palette, which is also a quad, I haven't fallen in love with many quads, and I don't have that many because I prefer to have a comprehensive palette. But this one, if it had an inner corner highlight, it would be the perfect quintet. So yeah, this is a great value because $3 for an everyday palette, you can't beat that. And then I decided to also show you this for this question, which are the Alter Ego palette. I created a look with 2 looks I've created with this palette, and I fell in love with the formula. This is the Alter Ego Coastal palette, and this is a dupe for what's the name of that palette from Huda Beauty? This one that I don't have but I wanted to have. And it's a beautiful palette, but when I used this on my eyes the other day when I was editing a video, I don't remember which video it was, but I mentioned that I used this palette on it. I was mesmerized by the eye look. I didn't think that it was this palette that I was using. I forgot, and then I mentioned that on the video, and I was blown away when I was editing. This is one of those that I think you guys, if you can't get your hand on the original Huda Beauty palette, getting an Alter Ego palette. They're great quality and they're about $18, and you can get, I have a coupon with them which is Jordana. I think you get 10% off. I don't know if I get anything from them, but you get 10% off, and that's more important to me. So they sent me these ones, and I have tried 2 of the ones that they sent me, which are one, it's a dupe for the Nouveau palette by ABH, which is beautiful, but this one blew my mind. If you like this color scheme, just go get this because you won't be disappointed. You can even just scrape this shade, which none of us will love. All of the other shades, like I'm gonna show you swatches right here on my hand. These are like celestial shades, and they glow on the eyelids so beautifully. They look so expensive on the lids. You can see how they grab the light. You guys, these made me wanna go and buy the Huda Beauty palette, and then I was thinking like, I truly don't need it with this one. This is just phenomenal. So yeah, this is a great value because for $18 to $20, this is nothing. Quad you love but wish it was a larger palette. Honestly, you guys, I don't have any quads that I wish were larger palettes because the one from e.l.f. that I just showed you that I love, I have the Master Matte palette, and I have a lot of palettes that would work and would be the bigger palette, like the Glam palette, the Viva palette. Those are similar to that one, or the vibe that I would create from that quad. And what I love about that quad is that it's a quad. that it's tiny and that I can carry it anywhere. But if I could expand a palette that I love so much, is the Desert Lights by Flower Beauty. And this one, I carry it on my kids. I have another one because they sent me a replacement, because the first one that I got came with this shade Broken, which is one of the shades that I was waiting on the most, because it reminds me so much of the Soft Glam Pinky shade. And that was the first shade that I finished completely from the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia. But this is the perfect shimmery palette, and I would love to see these in smaller pans with 6 more eyeshadows that were mattes. And this reminds me of Soft Glam, which is one of my most used palettes in my entire collection, or it was before I depotted it. Just phenomenal quality. It's like butter. This is high-end quality for sure. And I would love to see a bigger eyeshadow palette with these 6 colors in mind. I just love the color scheme. You love the quality of the eyeshadows but hate the packaging. So for love the palettes but hate the packaging, I have 3, you guys. So the velvet packaging from the Anastasia palettes, I'm so glad that they changed the packaging, because that packaging was nasty. I would clean it with alcohol so it would look pale and dirty. It would never be clean, so I just don't like it. It looks pretty when you first get the palette, but then that's all you get. Like the palette when it's brand new, it's wonderful, but then when it's getting older, it looks dirty all the time. I know I've already shown you the BCR palettes, but these packaging, I have 2 more. One was a gift from a client and 2 were gifts from my friend Janet, and one of them is already broken. Like, this is an $80 palette, but it's such cheap packaging, you guys. So yeah, I hate this packaging for a different reason. And then one that I needed to mention, because I don't think anyone says this, is the Pam McGrath packaging. I know it's luxe, I know it's beautiful because it's heavy, but it's not a convenient packaging. You can travel with it because it's too heavy. And then also, in my opinion, the reason why I don't reach for my Pam McGrath palettes that much is because of the packaging. I love having them in their boxes, and then I feel like it's a hassle to take them out of their boxes, and then also that they're so heavy and so luxe that I feel like I don't want to use them. If they had a simpler packaging or a magnetic packaging like Natasha Denona, I would use them so much more and I would appreciate them more. Show your dream palettes with singles. And you guys, my dream palette is always my Franken palette. I switch it. It's not always the same, but mostly the inspiration behind it would be the first Franken palette that I created. It was a wonderful palette. Was based on Soft Glam, and I hit so many pans on that one. So I think that's my favorite color scheme. This is right now my perfect palette. I would remove this one because that wouldn't make it perfect, and then the gold, because that's one that I'm working on for the Level Up project pan, and then I would leave the rest. And this is what I mean. This is what it means for me to have a perfect palette. To have transitions, different transitions, a black always, then shimmery shades that are neutral mostly, and then beautiful inner corner highlights. Those are the things that I love from them, and have a variety of cool tones. I have to have pink eyeshadow because I always do a pop of pink, and then I love to have deep browns for a deep smoky eye, shimmery and also matte. So yeah, this is my current dream palette right now. Palettes you like to combine together. So the truth is, you guys, that almost every single palette that I have in my collection I combine with one of the matte eyeshadow palettes that I showed you. Almost every single one of my palettes, because I usually get inspired by a shimmer and then combine it with those. But these 2 palettes, I use them in conjunction almost always. This is Moonlit Seduction and Midnight Sun. And then I'm gonna tell you the reason why, and it's another reason why Pam McGrath doesn't create my favorite eyeshadow palettes, because I don't like the transition shades. For me, even though I love Midnight Sun on its own, my favorite palette from Pam McGrath so far is Moonlit Seduction. This is just what dreams are made of. But I would remove these two shades from it. I wouldn't have them and I would be so happy. This is why I wish she would have magnetic palettes. And then this one, which is another beautiful one that I love so much. If you remove the blue, this is basically an everyday palette as well for me. And this transition is the only perfect transition within my Pamagraph collection. I have transitions in every other palette that work, but this is my favorite transition shade from my Pamagraph collection. And I think these two together, taking into account the transition on this one and then the looks that I can create from this one, is just perfection, you guys. So yeah, these are two that I almost always, when I'm pulling Moonlit Seduction, I'm pulling out Midnight Sun. A large palette that I wish was smaller, it's my Orgy palette. I know I hate on the brand as well, because I don't hate on the brand. I don't like Jeffree Star, but I love this palette, and this is a palette that I've used so much. I even love the mirror, but I would love for this to be half the size that it is. I wouldn't remove any shades. So I'm not talking about the shades, I'm talking about the size of the pans. I know people talked about repetitive palettes on this question, but that doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't talk about that. I would just love for this palette to be smaller, because I love all of the different type of whites that it comes with, and then all of the peachy transitions from transition shades, and then love all the midtones and the darker colors. I just love this palette with a passion. If this was as small as the Mario one, I think I would love this one more. So yeah, that's how much I love it. I wish it was smaller. But I have the Mario one, so I can't complain that much. It's just that that was the only palette that I thought I would like for it to be smaller. And then the last question is eyeshadow palette you wish had a matching face palette. And that would be either Soft Glam or Desert Lights. And it's for the same reason. I think Soft Glam, and I could put a picture of Soft Glam someplace on the screen since I don't have any eyeshadows left on that palette. I love the color scheme of that one, and if you could have like a beautiful highlighter, sort of like the Amarizi highlighter or a champagne highlighter, and then two blushes, like a mauve tone blush or a pinky nude blush, and then a bronzer with a little bit of warmth, and then a deeper bronzer or something like that, like a big face palette with 5 products or 6 products, like a NARS face palette with this inspiration in mind. It would be lovely for bridal, and that's all I think about when I think about any palettes to purchase, because the looks that I do on myself are usually more on the bridal side of things, and then what I do for a business, it's also bridal. So those would be my palettes that I would pull from to create, or I wish the brands would come up with face palettes. So that's it for this tag, you guys. If you really liked it, then please let me know some of the answers that you would give below. And thank you, Chic Geek, for creating this beautiful tag. I love eyeshadow palettes, and you could see that I have a lot of repetition within the questions, because these are most of the palettes that I love and reach for from my collection, whether it's for work or for personal use. That's it, you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell. Remember that I post project planning videos, tags, and luxury makeup videos here on this channel every week. I love you, and I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.